Hello, this is Dave Sugarbaker, and today is Easter. That's March 31st, 2024. It's about as early as Easter ever gets because it's I can't remember what exactly it is. It's the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the first of something. But anyway, here we are with one of the four gospel accounts about Easter. This is Luke 24, 1 to 35. But on the first day of the week, at early dawn, they, the women, went to the tomb, taking the spices which they had prepared. And they found the stone rolled away from the tomb. But when they went in, they did not find the body. While they were perplexed about this, behold, two men stood by them in dazzling apparel. And as they were frightened and bowed their faces to the ground, the men said to them, "Why do you seek the living among the dead? Remember how he told you when he was still in Galilee that the Son of Man must be delivered into the hands of sinful men and be crucified and on the third day rise?" And they remembered his words, and returning from the tomb, they told all this to the 11 and to all the rest. Now it was Mary Magdalene and Joanna and Mary, the mother of James, and the other women who with them who told this to the apostles. But these words seemed to the apostles to be an idle tale, and they did not believe them. That very day, two of them were going to a village named Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing together, Jesus himself drew near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What is this conversation which you are holding with each other as you walk?" And they stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, named Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days?" And he said to them, "What things?" And they said to him, "Concerning Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and rulers delivered him up to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the third day since this happened. Moreover, some women of our company amazed us. They were at the tomb early in the morning and did not find his body, and they came back saying that they had even seen a vision of angels who had said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but him they did not see. And he said to them, "O foolish men and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory?" And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. So they drew near to the village to which they were going. He appeared to be going further, but they constrained him, saying, "Stay with us, for it is evening, and the day is now far spent." So he went in to stay with them. When he was at table with them, he took the bread and blessed and broke it and gave it to them. And their eyes were opened and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Did not our hearts burn within us while he talked to us on the road, while he opened to us the scriptures?" And they rose that same hour and returned to Jerusalem. And they found the 11 gathered together, and those who were with them, who said, "The Lord has risen indeed and has appeared to Simon." Then they told what had happened on the road and how he was known to them in the breaking of the bread. Our celebration today is the apex of Christianity. Our celebration of Easter is central to our religion. For Christians, the history of the world is divided into two eras: everything that was before the resurrection and everything that came after the resurrection. For all four gospel writers, the resurrection is the most important happening in their world. Luke writes 2 books of the New Testament. The first is the Acts of Jesus, which we call the Gospel of Luke. And the second of Luke's books is called the Acts of the Apostles. And standing as a watershed between the Acts of Jesus and the Acts of the Apostles is the resurrection. Each of the 4 Gospels tells the story of the empty tomb just a little differently. They all agree, though, that it was the women followers who first discover the empty tomb. And true to form, in at least one of the Gospels, the men don't believe the women when the women come and tell them what they have found. I think we're beginning to see and beginning to admit the centrality of the figure of Mary Magdalene in those early days of the church. All 4 Gospels show a group of frightened, scattered, shattered leaders or followers who have lost their leader and are dealing with their grief after several days of incredible violence and trauma. They weren't sitting around waiting for the resurrection. When it dawned on them, they were astonished. In spite of all the warnings and predictions Jesus had made about what might happen, they had not a clue. The resurrection dawned on the disciples and on the other followers of Jesus, and they were transformed by it. It changed their view of Jesus, and it changed their understanding of themselves as well. The resurrection changed everything. The disciples became the first Easter people. And centuries later, we Christians can refer to ourselves as the people of the resurrection, or Easter people. And I want to share with you what I think are the characteristics of Easter people. That is, people who have been changed by the reality of the resurrection. I was a hospice chaplain for 5 years, and I met and talked with many terminally ill people. And the difference between those who had a faith in God and those who didn't was tremendous. The difference was the people of faith, the Easter people, weren't afraid to live and they weren't afraid to die. The resurrection of Jesus centuries ago points to an invisible reality that is larger than human life. It says, although we can't test it and prove it by applying the scientific method, that there is more to existence than just what fits between the bookends of human birth and human death. The Little Prince, in the book by Antoine d'Exupéry, says that it is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential, says the Little Prince, is invisible to the eye. So how do we recognize Easter people? We know them by how they live. Easter people are generous in offering and generous in receiving. They are full of laughter, mercy, and rejoicing. Easter people nourish, but they do not possess. They affirm others, but don't seek to dominate. Easter people aren't trying to win or lose. They seek to help and to be helped. Easter people are patient. They're kind and envy no one. They're never boastful, nor conceited, nor rude. Easter people are not selfish. They're not quick to take offense. Easter people keep no score of wrongs. They don't gloat over another's failings, but delight in the truth. There's nothing Easter people can't face. There's no limit to their faith, their hope, and their endurance. Easter people leave ripples in the world around them. Even when they have gone, their influence, their impact continues in the same way that ripples continue to spread on the surface of a pond after the initial splash has subsided. Easter people thrive on love. In that way, they reflect the principal quality of their loving spiritual parent. Living in the light of the resurrection means Easter people are free from fear because love casts out fear. And finally, Easter people live with a deep, durable sense of joy. Father Teilhard de Chardin says, joy is the infallible sign of the presence of God. He is risen. And the people say, he is risen indeed. Now, God bless you. Have a good Easter day. And if you find this of value, I'd appreciate it if you'd pass it along. In any case, take care of yourself. I'll see you soon.